Hey guys, so a lot of people have requested about my bookshelves. In today's video, I will show you my two bookshelves and introduce each section in each bookshelf. Over here is my reading space, and what I love to do is to just sit here and grab any books I want to read in a nice morning or a nice afternoon. So let's get started. First, I will show you my guitar. Here's my guitar, like a normal guitar everyone has. I usually learn some notes on some kind of app or on YouTube videos, even though it's kind of hard sometimes, but I think it's fun to actually explore a new musical instrument and just to make our fingers more stronger. So this guitar is really helpful and it let loosen my mind a lot whenever I feel stressed. So learning a few notes is very beneficial. Here's the guitar. I placed it right here, and over here is my ukulele. I had this ukulele a long time ago, and this is from my uncle. I have been learning this for quite a few years, but I rarely practice it. I think I might get back to it later on. But a ukulele is so much easier than the guitar. It has fewer strings and it's so easier to play. So now I will introduce to you, my bookshelf right here. So the first section that I always look at is this section right here. Here are the two sections, this section first and this section. So if you look closely, almost all of those books are literally from one author, which is Jacqueline Wilson. Here, Jacqueline Wilson, we have Jacqueline Wilson. I love reading books by her, so I tend to have a collection about her book. So in this section, except here is some English books that I had when I was a little girl. For example, this one. I used to read books like this when I was a little girl. There are many levels like 800 words or 1,000 words, and it is from First News. So for example, this is The Invisible Man. This section here is books that I usually read when I was a little girl. But from this section is my collections of Jacqueline Wilson, and I'll take a book from you for you. So for example, I love reading this one. I am currently reading this book. It is Jackie Daydream by Jacqueline Wilson. It's the story of her childhood, and it's very fun to read. It's kind of like a novel, and I'm reading to page 303. This is Jacqueline Wilson book, and a lot more book that I read from her. It's really interesting to read Jacqueline Wilson. I just place it here. It's a little bit out of hand. I can no longer place any books in here now because I have a full collection of her book. Down over here is half of those are Jacqueline Wilson's book and half of those are David Williams. David Williams is my next author that I love to read. For example, I have Awful Auntie by David Williams. It's a wonderful book and it's the #1 best-selling author, David Williams. Here is inside his books. It's really fun to read. Honestly, his books is both funny and sometimes creepy also sometimes because he is he is a freelancer, a businessman, and also a pretty funny person as well. So David Williams right here. Here is a part of another Jacqueline Wilson books. I got this one, which is a very good book, Rent a Bridesmaid. It's really colorful and it's really emotional to read through pages. All right, place it back. You might be wondering, what are those? I have around, let me count, 4 of those series. So basically, those series is the Usborne Economics for Beginners or Usborne Law for Beginners. So this is the series for about things in society that I usually learn, and it's really fun to read because it covers almost every single thing in life. Sometimes they are not very common, so learning this is actually pretty fun, and this is also pretty good for debates. So I got economics, law, politics, money, climate crisis, business, and philosophy. So this is like a very recommended series. It's really good to read and it widens my knowledge. All right, until this section right here. This section is, you'll see that a part of this is from David Williams until here. And a part of this is from Roald Dahl. I just have no idea how to pronounce his name, but basically he's a very famous author. Take example from this book. This is a very fun book. It's the BFG Matilda, and 3 books combined in this big series of book. It's a very thick book, to be honest. So Roald Dahl writes story for little kids. He is also similar to Jacqueline Wilson and David Williams. So until now, I have 3 authors which I love, which is Roald Dahl is the number 3. And I have been craving on this book lately, especially Matilda. Matilda is a very good book. I'm sure that you watched the film Matilda before. There are 2 types. We have the old series in the past, and now we have a musical Matilda from Netflix. So Matilda from Roald Dahl is a very good book. I also have the series of Percy Jackson. All right, I got one for you. Here is the series of Percy Jackson. I think Percy Jackson is really fun and magical to read. It is kind of similar to Harry Potter, but a little bit different since it's fantasy story. All right. And you may be wondering, what are those thick books? Because I have those very thick books placed in here. Well, actually, those are all novels, criminal novels, and sometimes scary horror novels, or it can be detective novels as well. And those are all presents from my uncle from a very far away place. So for example, I have, this is a very fun book. It's Angelology. Looks creepy though, it's not that creepy. It's about like a very drama story, abandoned child, and she grew up and discovered about her family, pretty like those drama content. So Angelology, it's actually, even though it looks hard, but it's very fun to read once you crave into a story. So those are all of detective novels and horror novels as well. Coming to this section right here, we see 3 books from Jacqueline. And we also have some, I have a Vietnamese book, Victor Hugo in Paris. This is like a Vietnamese book. I also have the series of Anne of Green Gable. I haven't actually had the chance to finish reading Anne of Green Gable, but I know it's a very fun story. For example, Anne of the Island. Like the series of Anne of Green Gable is a must read, I think. And we have, this section is all about books, textbooks, mostly, nothing too special. I have a Nas Daily book, which is one of my favorite, Around the World in 60 Seconds. I love this book. Or I also have this one, which I am currently reading, which is Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. All right, up to this part is all of my precious collections. I have 2 piggy banks, which I used to store all of my money in those 2. This one is currently full right now, and I'm saving in this little cute panda. And I have this, my first cup ever. It's kind of fun, honestly. It's a very fun journey. And I have several medals right here and just some presents from some competitions. And you see I have a clock, and all of those sections are dictionaries. I have a lot of dictionaries right here. And here you may see that this may be the biggest book I had in my collection of books, which is all about Vietnam history. And up here is the globe, teddy bears, and some decorations. All right, now let's move to my next bookshelves right outside. Open the door. I'm gonna turn on the lights. All right. Okay, turn on the lights. All right, so here is my second bookshelves. So basically, my second bookshelves covers mostly Vietnamese book. So the English books are in my bedroom, and outside here is my second bookshelves. Let's look at this first section. Place it right here. So honestly, I have a series of Kính Vạn Hoa from the author Nguyễn Nhật Ánh. Like my sister and I love reading his book, especially this series is very fun to read. Yeah. And we also have the series of Harry Potters in Vietnamese. We have a few books in English, but honestly, we don't have the full series. We have the series in Vietnamese. And we also have a series of Sherlock Holmes over here too. And this part is just only some decorations, very cute minion decoration. And this is what I love. It's basically, this one is that this monk can't hear, this monk can't see, can't laugh, and can't, what is this one? I have no idea. But those are very cute monks, and it reminds me of calmness whenever I read books. Yeah, just decorations. Over here are some magazines, a lot of magazines that I received from competitions and at my school. And this sections right here are stories, books. For example, I have fairy tales, fairy tales from Anderson. Anderson's fairy tale or Grimm's fairy tale. And just stories, all of those. You know what? This sections is actually used book I bought from the book sale. It's really cheap. All right, moving to the section you can see here is all Nguyễn Nhật Ánh book. Because you know what? I'm not a big fan of him, honestly, but I do read his books sometime. But my sister, she is a big fan of his books. So honestly, she has like a full collection, not all, but nearly almost all of his books. And it's really good to read. Yeah, a book with him. Really fun, honestly. He writes just like Jacqueline Wilson. And I truly love the way that he writes. Like his writing style is really good. Oh, right. And over here are just parents' books. You know, parents' books when my parents used to read. And I got books from history, like Anderson's right here, and Võ Nguyên Giáp, like our beloved person in history. All right, over here is chicken and just some decorations of the Eiffel Tower and decorations also. So this is my second bookshelf, covers all Vietnamese books and very educated and beneficial books. So you see it all. I think you've seen it all. Any questions? I guess bye.